As the U.S. tops 300,000 COVID-19 deaths, vaccinations for the virus have finally begun. Healthcare workers right here in our community are among the first to get vaccinated. One of the first shipments of vaccines arrived this morning at Truman Medical Center. The hospital has already started vaccinating those who work directly with COVID-19 patients. 41 Action News reporter Jordan Betts heard from the very first person to get vaccinated at Truman. She joins us live with more on that nurse's experience. Jordan?
Yeah, it is a truly historic day for that woman, the hospital, and Kansas City. It was an ICU nurse that received the Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine today. She got that vaccine around 2 o'clock, and they hope today to at least give up to 40 people at the hospital that vaccine. She has been here. She's been with COVID-19 patients since the start of the pandemic. She says, when she was helping these patients, she was, really hoping there would be a light at the end of the tunnel. She said she had no idea when she woke up this morning that her life would change.
I was truly just overjoyed with the thought, and definitely like the anticipatory anxiety / excitement of just what is this really going to look like.
Keel says the shot felt just like any other injection. We don't know, though, how many doses of the COVID-19 vaccines they received. We hope to get word on that very soon. In Kansas City, Jordan Betts, 41 Action News.
Thank you, Jordan. Meanwhile, taking a look elsewhere, this morning, a critical care nurse in New York City became the very first person in the U.S. to get vaccinated. Sandra Lindsay works at Long Island Jewish Medical Center in Queens. After getting the vaccine, she said, like the woman that spoke to Jordan, she felt great. She also reminded everyone you do need to keep wearing a mask and social distancing, even if you've been vaccinated. That recommendation is echoed by medical experts all across the country. And more vaccines are on the way. This morning, trucks left the Pfizer Michigan plant under U.S. Marshal escort. The shipment contains 400 boxes of vaccines. That's about 2 million doses. They're expected to reach their destinations tomorrow and Wednesday. And again, we know healthcare workers on the front lines, along with those in long-term care facilities, will be the first to get vaccinated. The University of Kansas Health System says duration and intensity of exposure will determine the order in which its staff gets vaccinated. But they noted there also has to be a strategy when it comes to when those workers get their vaccine.
Getting a vaccine or getting a flu shot, sometimes you get a little bit of a fever, you get a little bit of a headache, you may not feel as good. Well, in the age of COVID, that means you can't go to work. If somebody has a headache or a low-grade fever, they can't go in and work in the ICU shift. So we can only do a portion of those folks every day.
A lot to take into consideration. So after the first phase of distribution, essential workers, first responders, and those with pre-existing conditions will be able to get vaccinated next. Then the vaccine will be more widely available to the public. That applies to both Kansas and Missouri, as their distribution plans are pretty similar. Both states say the vaccine will be available at no cost. And while Pfizer's distribution has already begun, other vaccine trials continue, and approval of those vaccines will be key in ensuring that everyone who wants one gets one. 41 Action News reporter Emma James explains what the Pfizer vaccine's distribution means for other trials still in progress.
Now that frontline healthcare workers are starting to receive Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, there could be cause for concern for other vaccine trials that haven't gotten the stamp of approval yet. When the vaccine is widely available to the general public, losing participants who choose to get it could be a problem for trials. Shawnee resident Brandon Koenig has been a participant in the Inovio Phase 1 trial since spring. It included a group of 48 participants, all who received vaccine. Now, Brandon says he still wants to get an approved vaccine when it's available to him, which means he would have to drop out of the Inovio trial.
And I know I've had actual vaccine. But depending on the timeline, I will likely get whatever vaccine is available to the general public at the same time, because I believe that my vaccine is effective, but it still hasn't received final approval, and it's not through phase 3 testing.
Now, experts say participants likely wouldn't start dropping out of trials to get the vaccine until spring when it's widely available. And hopefully by that point, most of the trials going on would have a lot of the data they need to keep moving forward. In Kansas City, Emma James, 41 Action News.
Pfizer's CEO said the company feels proud to provide the first COVID-19 vaccines in the country. The company plans to manufacture 60 million vaccines by the end of the year, with even more next year.
Next year will be 1.3 billion, and we are working to make much more than that. So the 1.3 billion, it is our commitment to the world, but we are working to make much more.
And the U.S. wasn't the only country to begin vaccinating today. Vaccines were also administered for the first time in Canada. Canada expects to receive an initial shipment of 30,000 doses. As we learn more about the vaccine and its distribution, we are bringing those updates directly to you. You can stay up to date with our daily briefing. Find that on our website, kshb.com, or check out our free mobile app.